You know that feeling, right? Burning up, shivering. It's just awful. We all call it being sick. But what if that miserable feeling isn't the sickness at all? What if it's actually one of your body's oldest, most powerful strategies? Yeah, let's get into it. I mean, it just feels awful. So why on earth would our bodies deliberately do this to us? It makes no sense, right? You're trying to get better, and your own body feels like it's fighting against you, making you feel even worse. What is going on? Well, the answer is pretty incredible. A fever isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's one of your most ancient and powerful evolutionary defenses. Seriously, this is a weapon that's been perfected for over 600 million years. I mean, everything from fish and lizards to, well, us uses it. Okay, so to really get how this weapon works, we've got to go back to the very beginning, the moment of invasion. Just picture it. Some nasty bacteria or a virus breaks through your first line of defense, your skin maybe, and starts to set up shop inside your body. So who's first on the scene? Your guards, the macrophages. And these things are amazing. They're these huge cells just patrolling your body's frontiers. And get this, each one can literally devour up to 100 intruders. But, sometimes the invasion is just too big. If they start getting overwhelmed, they don't give up. No way. They send out a chemical alarm, basically calling in the cavalry. And that alarm signal, that's the trigger. That's when your immune system decides it's time for a drastic change. It's going to change the entire climate of your body. Which brings us to strategy number 1, crank up the heat. So how does it do that? Well, this whole defensive climate change thing is kicked off by chemicals called pyrogens. The name literally means heat creators. Think of them like messengers running from the battlefield all the way up to your brain and basically telling it, hey, turn up the thermostat, now! And turning up the heat is not cheap. Your body burns about 10% more calories for every single degree Celsius your temperature goes up. That is a huge energy cost, which really tells you just how critical this strategy is. And, it's also why you feel so completely wiped out when you have a fever. Your body is basically forcing you to lie down and save every last bit of energy for the fight. And this shows you exactly why it's worth all that energy. See, at your normal body temp, around 37 degrees Celsius, your body is a paradise for these invaders. It's perfect for them to multiply. But you crank that heat up just a little bit, and suddenly, for them, the world is on fire. Their proteins start to fall apart, their membranes burst, their DNA gets fried. It goes from paradise to a hostile wasteland, just like that. But okay, turning up the heat isn't the only weapon in the arsenal. The second strategy is honestly just as brilliant. If you can't burn the enemy out, well, you starve them. Your body creates what is basically a battlefield food desert. Think about it. These pathogens, especially bacteria, they want to multiply like crazy. And to do that, they need resources. They need food. So during a fever, your immune system goes into lockdown mode. It starts actively hiding all the key stuff those invaders need. Things like iron, glucose, and glutamine. It literally cuts off their supply lines and just starves them out. All right, so we've made the environment scorching hot, and we've hidden all the food. But a fever does something else that's just incredible. It's not just about hurting the enemy. It's also about supercharging your own troops. Here's the wild part. Pretty much every system in your body works worse when you have a fever. You feel it, right? But there's one exception, your immune system. It actually works better in the heat. Your immune cells, like neutrophils, get to the fight faster. And our buddies, the macrophages, they become even more aggressive, even better at gobbling up the enemy. And to make their job even easier, the body uses these things called opsonins. The best way to think about them? They're like forks. Seriously. These little molecules go and stick to the bad guys, which basically tags them. It makes it so much easier for a macrophage to see them, grab onto them, and, well, eat them. But wait, there's one more trick up the sleeve. a final, brilliant trap that a fever sets. This one is especially nasty for cells that have been infected by viruses. And it's all based on a crazy paradox. By trying to save themselves, these infected cells are actually screaming out, "Hey, come and destroy me." It's called the heat shock protein trap. And here's how this genius move works. First, the heat from the fever puts a ton of stress on your own cells, especially the ones that have been hijacked and turned into virus factories. So to try and survive, these stressed out cells start pumping out massive amounts of something called heat shock proteins. It's a defense mechanism. But, and here's the trap, your immune system's killer cells are trained to spot an excess of these proteins. They see it as a 5-alarm fire, a sign of critical distress. So the cell's desperate attempt to save itself becomes the very signal that marks it for destruction. The killer cell takes it out and destroys all the viruses inside with it. Game over. Okay, so after all that, if fever is this incredible, multi-layered defense strategy, that leads to the big question, right? The one we all think about when we're sick. Should we actually be taking medicine to bring it down?
Well, the first thing we all need to know is the danger zone. Generally speaking, for a healthy person, a fever isn't considered dangerous until it gets above 40 degrees Celsius, that's 104 Fahrenheit. If it starts climbing higher than that, it could be a sign your body's internal thermostat is on the fritz, and that's when you absolutely need to see a doctor.
So, as you can see, it's not a simple yes or no answer. For a healthy adult, if you can bear it, just letting the fever run its course can actually help your immune system and might even help you recover faster. But it's a different story for pregnant women, the elderly, or anyone with a weakened immune system. For them, the extra stress from a fever can be risky, so talking to a doctor and treating it is often the way to go. And get this, for some things, like the flu, some studies even suggest that not treating the fever can lead to better outcomes, probably because those fever reducers can mess with the awesome immune response we've been talking about. So, next time you feel that heat rising and you start to feel miserable, try to remember what's actually going on inside. A fever isn't your body malfunctioning. It's a finely tuned weapon perfected over millions of years of evolution. So the real question becomes, are you going to let it work?